Okay. So, magandang araw sa inyong lahat. Ayan. So, today we will discuss about IFRS 3, which is our accounting standard for business combination. So, syempre ito yung pinaka puso ng ating subject. Ang subject natin tawag is accounting for business combination. Okay, no? So, ibig sabihin, ito talaga. Ayan, no? So, ito talaga yung pinaka-objective natin, no? Is to understand ano ba yung business combinations, no? Sir, bakit inuna natin, no, yung home office and branch accounting, no? Kasi yun yung pinaka-simple. Okay, yun yung pinaka-simple. Pero, yung mga concepts na pag-aralan natin sa home office and branch accounting, no, like yung merong separate financial statement si branch at saka si home office, and then meron tayong tinatawag na combined financial statements, i-carry over din natin yung concepts na yun dito sa IFRS 3 at saka sa IFRS 10. Okay, no? So, syempre, iba lang yung tawag. Doon sa home office, ang tawag combined, no? Pero sa IFRS 10, ang tawag consolidation or consolidated. Ayan, no? Iba lang yung tawag pero same lang din naman ng konsepto, no? Mas detailed at mas comprehensive lang si IFRS 3 and si IFRS 10. Okay, no? Kaya inuna natin yung home office and branch accounting kasi doon simple pa. Simple pa, no? And then may mga reciprocal accounts tayo na pinag-aralan, di ba? Na matututunan din natin dito sa IFRS 10, no? Kasi sa IFRS 10 malalaman natin mga accounts din tayong ini-eliminate, no? Pero sabi ko nga nung una is i-discuss natin to dahan-dahan lang, no? Para hindi tayo mabigla. Okay, no? So start tayo dun sa pinaka-basic, which is home office and branch accounting. And then after nun, no, pag natapos na natin yung general and special procedures, ayan, pupunta na tayo sa IFRS 3. Okay, no? It is very important na malaman natin yung concept ng IFRS 3. Okay. Sige. So, syempre, the very first question dito, no? IFRS 3 is about business combination. Ano ba yung business combination? Okay. So, sabi dito, business combination is a transaction or event in which acquirer obtains control over a business. Oo, no? Ibig sabihin, meron kang control sa ibang business. For example, si Grab, kinain si Uber. Wala nang Uber ngayon. Si Jollibee, kinain si Mang Inasal. Meron pa rin Mang Inasal, but it is under Jollibee na. Okay, no? So, ibig sabihin, you have the control over a business, no? Whether there's an acquisition of shares or net assets, no? May legal mergers or reverse acquisitions. Ayan. So, itong business combination, tinatawag din itong true mergers or mergers of equals. Iba-iba man yung terminology, isa lang ibig sabihin. Business combination. Okay, no? For example, si A company, kinain si B company. Yun ang example ng business combinations. No? So later, makikita natin may iba't ibang forms ng business combinations. No? Pero based dun sa definition kasi, sabi transactions or event. Okay? No? So isa siyang event in which the acquirer obtains control over a acquiree, over a business. No? So paano ba natin masasabi na mayroon tayong control? Ayan. Ano ba yung control? Ayan. No? So of course, masasabi natin there is a control, no? If an investor controls an investee when the investor is exposed or has rights to variable returns from its involvement with the investing, ibig sabihin may natatanggap kang dividendo. Okay, no? So napag-aralan mo nung intermediate accounting, meron tayong tinatawag na investment in associates. Oo, no? Meron ka daw significant influence doon. May natatanggap ka ding dividends doon. Okay, no? Kasi nag-invest ka eh. Meron ka rin dividends na natatanggap doon. pag may natatanggap ng dividends, may control ka na. Isa yun sa mga prerequisite, pero hindi lang yun ang kailangan mo para masabi mong may control ka. Kasi possible nga na investment in associate lang. Ibig sabihin, possible na significant influence lang ang meron ka. Oo, no? Ano pa yung kailangan, no? Hindi lang sapat na meron kang variable returns na natatanggap. Sabi dito, and, oo, meron pa, and has the ability to affect those returns through its power over the investee. Ayun, no? So may bagong terminologies na naman, no? Meron ka daw power over the acquiree, over the investee. Okay, no? So itong control at saka power, no, we will discuss that in detail pagdating natin sa IFRS 10. No? Pero just to give you an overview, kasi nababanggit siya sa IFRS 3. Ayan. Ano ba yung power? Okay, no? Paano mo masasabing mayroon kang power? Okay. So sabi dito, when existing rights give an investor the current ability to direct the relevant activities of an investee. Okay, no? Ibig sabihin, you are part of the board of directors. Okay, no? You significantly affect the business. Okay, no? Meron kang say. Every time it makes decision, nandun ka. Ilan ang dividendo i-declare natin for this year? Isa ka dun sa mga nade-decide. 25%, 20%, 10%. Ayun. Meron kang power. Hindi lang sapat na you are part of the managerial position, but it is also important that you have the power, no? You are part of the board of directors. Okay, no? Isa ka dun sa mga may-ari. Part owner ka ng business. Ayan, no? Ano pa yung mga tinatawag na may power or control? Kapag more than 50% ng shares or total issued shares, meron ka. No? Pero pag-aaralan natin yun sa IFRS 10 pa. No? Nabanggit lang kasi masasabing mayroong control. Ayan, no? So now, at this point, alam na natin na kung ano yung business combination. Okay? Kung kailan nagkakaroon ka sa event, no, na acquirer obtains control over an acquiree, no? Meron kang control or power pagka nakakatanggap ka ng variable returns, and also you are part of the BOD, or you are a part owner, or you own more than 50% of the total issued shares, mayroong business combination. Okay. Pero ano ba yung objective ng IFRS 3? Bakit nagkaroon ng IFRS 3? Ayan. So, the objective of IFRS 3 is to improve the relevance, reliability, and comparability of the information that a reporting entity provides in its financial statements about a business combination and its effects. No? Familiar ba yung term? Yes. No? Sa conceptual framework, yan din yung binabanggit eh. No? May relevance, reliability, and comparability ng financial statements. Yun ang purpose ng IFRS 3. If walang IFRS 3, paano i-account ang isang business combination? Yun ang isang malaking problema. Okay, no? Bakit? Kasi hindi consistent. Ang mangyayari dyan kung walang IFRS 3 and then mayroong mga business combination na nangyayari, mangyayari dyan is based on judgment, no? Since walang sinabi sa accounting standard, based on judgment. Kung paano ba yung nagpe-prepare ng financial statements sa IAS 1, kung ano yung sinabi sa 2018 conceptual framework, since yun yung general rule, yun ang susundin, no? And then other than that, how we disclose, it's based on judgment. Oo, no? So para magkaroon ng relevance, reliability, and comparability sa financial statements, na mayroong business combinations event, nandyan ang IFRS 3. Okay, no? Yun ang objective ng IFRS 3. Ayan, no? So paano natin ma-accomplish itong objective natin na to? Okay, no? So dapat alam natin how the acquirer recognizes and measures in its financial statements the identifiable assets acquired and liabilities assumed and any non-controlling interest in the acquiring. So later on, we will discuss that further, no? So, syempre, kapag nagkaroon ka ng control sa acquiring, yan, so magkakaroon ka ng mga identifiable assets acquired. Ibig sabihin, ito yung mga assets na nakuha mo dun sa acquiring. At dahil kumuha ka ng assets, meron ka rin mga liabilities na i-assume, na aakuin yung obligation. Okay. And for partial acquisition, merong non-controlling interest. Ayan, no? Pero itong non-controlling interest, mas i-detail pa natin siya sa IFRS 10. Okay, no? Doon natin i-discuss yan. Okay, yung mga partial acquisition. Okay. Next, how the acquirer recognizes and measures the goodwill acquired in the business combination or a gain from bargain purchases. No? So ito, depende ito sa naging resulta ng business combination. So maalala mo, sir, sabi dun sa IAS 38, which is our accounting standard for intangible assets, hindi dapat tayo nagre-recognize ng goodwill. Oo, yung mga internally generated goodwill. That is right, no? But for goodwill arising from business combination, it is out of scope of IAS 38. No? It is within the scope of IFRS 3. Ayan. So nagre-recognize tayo ng goodwill based, no, or acquired in the business combination. Ayan. Pero syempre, hindi naman lahat parating goodwill. No? Minsan gain or bargain purchase. Okay, no? Ayan. So dapat i-disclose, ipapakita natin sa face ng financial statements kung mayroong bang goodwill acquired or gain from bargain purchases. And lastly, how the acquirer determines what information to disclose to enable users of the financial statements to evaluate the nature and financial effects of the business combination. Oo, no? Importante yun, no? Paano na-identify yung fair market values? Is it within the measurement period, no? Ano yung evaluation? Is it in accordance with IFRS 13? So lahat yun, no? Tinitignan natin. Okay, no? And yung mga important information, dapat i-disclose natin yan. And that is stated clearly in IFRS 3. Ayan, no? Kasi kung walang IFRS 3, kaya na sinabi ko kanina, hindi magkakagulo eh. Walang consistency. Oo, yun ang mangyayari. No? Kaya buti na lang, mayroong IFRS 3. Okay, no? Ayan. So, ngayon, nalaman na natin, ito yung objective. Pero hanggang saan ba yung scope ng IFRS 3? Oh, because IFRS 3 is not applicable to all, di ba? It only pertain or it is only within the scope ng business combination lang. Yun, no? So, tingnan natin, no? So, do not apply IFRS 3 or IFRS 3 does not apply to 1. The accounting for the formation of a joint arrangement in the financial statements of the joint arrangement itself, meaning ito yung mga joint venture or joint operation, no? Pagka kasi ganun, under yan ng IFRS 11. Okay, no? Yun yung accounting standard natin for joint arrangements, no? Bago na. Okay? IFRS 11 na ngayon, no? Dati kasi SIC 13 at saka IAS 31, no? Pero ngayon hindi ba na IFRS 11 na. So within the scope of IFRS 11, not IFRS 3. Okay? So yung IFRS 11, yung joint arrangement, pag-aaralan niyo yun sa accounting for special transactions, no? So doon yung pag-aaralan kung ano ba or paano yung recognition, measurement, treatment, scope ng IFRS 11. No, kasi medyo connected siya sa IAS 20. Okay? Next, the acquisition of an asset or a group of assets that does not constitute a business. So ibig sabihin yung in-acquire mo, hindi daw business, kung hindi asset or a group of asset. Okay, no? Kasi kanina, sabi doon sa definition, di ba? Meron kang control over a business, no? Sabihin dapat business yung in-acquire natin, hindi asset or a group of assets. Lastly, a combinations of entities or businesses under a common control. Oo, no? So for example, sa home office and branch, yung dalawang branch nag-combine, hindi yun business combination. Bakit? Kasi yun ay under common control ng home office. Okay, no? And then, of course, the requirements ng standard mismo, no, it doesn't apply dun sa mga acquisition by an investment entity. Kasi yung acquisition by an investment entity, yun ay under ng IFRS 10. Okay, no? So, hindi siya IFRS 3, but IFRS 10. Okay, so balik tayo dun sa exceptions. Dun sa A, sabi, under siya ng IFRS 11. Yung sa C, under common control. Okay, clear yan. Ito. Sabi dito kanina, di ba, dapat ang in-acquire natin business, hindi asset or a group of assets. So, paano natin malalaman kung business siya or asset? Okay. Ayan. Okay, no? How do we identify if it is a business or not? Ayan. No? So, the business combination must involve the acquisitions of a business which generally has three elements. No? So, dapat meron niyang input, process, and output. No? So, later on, hindi discuss natin in detail. Pero dapat meron siyang input, process, and output. Kung babasahin natin yung definition ng business, no, na binigay sa IFRS 3, sabi, an integrated set of activities and assets that is capable of being conducted and managed for the purpose of providing a return in the form of dividends, lower cost, or other economic benefits directly to investors or other owners, members, or participants. Okay, no? Kung titignan mo ito, masyadong broad. Okay? With a broad business definition, no? Determining whether a transaction results in an asset or a business acquisition, no? So, very challenging siya. But, important area of judgment. Ayan. So, yun ang ginagawa ngayon in practice, no? It is important area of judgment kasi masyadong broad yung definition na binigay ng IFRS 3. In fact, nagkaroon na nga ng assumptions, no, na kapag daw merong presence ng goodwill, yun daw ay isang business. Shall be presumed to be a business. Oo, sabi, no? Pero may mga nagko-contradict, no? Sabi, hindi naman porket na may goodwill, business na, no? Kasi ang business daw need not have goodwill. Oo, dapat daw walang goodwill Kaya nga hindi yan nire-recognize ng IAS 38, no? So, conflicting. Magulo. Oo, no? So, dahil dito, masyadong complex, no? Complexity. Yan, no? Mahirap. Challenging. No? More on judgment talaga siya. There is actually an optional concentration test. So, optional lang naman on the word itself. No? Sabihin, nasa sa acquirer yan. Okay? Kung magko-concentration test siya or hindi. Kasi kapag hindi, magpo-full assessment siya. Okay? Pero kapag nag-optional concentration test siya, no, pwede hindi na siya mag-full assessment. Depende. Depende sa acquirer, no? Kaya important area of judgment. Okay, no? So ano ba yung optional concentration test, no? Ano ba yung gustong sabihin nito? Actually, concentration test, it is a simplified assessment that results in an asset acquisition if substantially all of the fair value of the gross assets is concentrated. Sabihin, same risk. No? Same sila na significant risk in a single identifiable assets or a group of similar identifiable assets. Ayan, no? So para mas madali natin mag-visualize, Ayan. Okay, no? To help you appreciate about concentration test criteria. No? So the first question, of course, it is substantially all of the fair value or fair market value of the gross assets acquired concentrated in a single identifiable asset or a group of similar identifiable assets. If it is a yes, no, ibig sabihin, pare-parehas lang naman sila eh, no? Ibig sabihin, bumili ka ng 10 bahay. Oo, no? Pare-parehas sila. Similar risk. Yung fair market value, substantially all similar concentrated, then it is not a business. It is just an asset acquisition. Yun, no? Eh sir, paano namin ma-identify kung substantially? Dapat ba 90%? 95%? 85%? Walang sinabi sa IFRS 3. No? So, it is based on judgment na naman. Oo, no? Paano mo masasabing substantially? Based on judgment. So, paano naman kung hindi? Kung hindi substantially all, no, concentrated in a single identifiable asset, then it is a business. Business siya. Pag hindi siya pumasa sa concentration test, business siya. No? If the test not met, business siya. Okay, no? Pero depende nga, no, sa acquirer. Kasi kung hindi siya nag-meet dun sa criteria ng concentration test or the acquirer elects not to apply the concentration test, then dapat mag-full assessment siya. Okay, no? So, yung sa full assessment kasi, mas detailed. Okay, no? Sir, paano mas detailed? Nabanggit natin kanina na dapat ang isang business mayroong 3 elements. First, may inputs. Pag sinabi mong inputs, ito yung mga economic resources. Assets. Okay? May assets. Yung mga assets na yun, tumutulong siya to create outputs. No? Sabihin, ginagamit mo for operation, no? Whether direct or indirect, administrative or selling. It helps, no? Creates outputs. Okay, no? Next, dapat may process. Merong system. Merong operation. No? Meron kang strategic management. Meron kang operational processes. Ayan, no? And meron kang output. No? Output, hindi siya generally dapat dividends lang, no? But pag sinabi mong output, resulta siya ng operation mo. No? It's a results of inputs and processes. No? Pag in-apply mo yung mga economic resources mo, ano ang kinalabasan? Yun ang output. Okay, no? So, kung makikita mo sa chart, ayan, no? Or sa table, ayan. So, kapag walang input, asset acquisition siya. Kung may input, pero walang process, asset acquisition siya. Okay? So, dapat alam natin, may input or process. Input and process. Ayan. So, dapat may input and process. Eh, yung output. Ayan, no? So, dapat malaman natin meron bang output o wala. Okay. Sir, paano pag walang output? Okay. So, if a set of activities and assets does not have outputs at the acquisition date, wala siyang output. Ayan, no? So, dapat malaman natin, no? Kung dapat ma-identify natin if the workforce with skills to perform process that is critical, no, to development, no, to convert other acquired inputs into outputs. No? Importante pa rin yung concept ng input and processes. Ayan, no? So para ma-identify natin, kasi wala siyang output. No? Okay, so tingnan natin yung process niya. Yun. Dapat substantive yung process niya. So paano natin masasabing substantive yung process niya? So first, dapat it is critical to the ability to develop or convert an acquired input or inputs into outputs. And the inputs acquired include both an organized workforce that has necessary skills, knowledge, or experience to perform that process. Ibig sabihin doon, sa dalawang criteria na yon, para masabi mong, is the process substantive? O, para masabi mong substantive ba yung process, ibig sabihin nag-ooperate siya sa business. Okay, may mga labor ka, may overhead ka, meron kang materials. Ayan. It works sa isang manufacturing companies. No? Sa merchandising, paano yung process flow mo? Yun. Doon natin titignan. Kasi ang mga kumpanya ngayon, no, depende sa industry. Iba-iba naman sila ng output. Ang BPO, iba sa manufacturing. Iba din sa merchandising. No? So dapat malaman natin yung pinaka-flow ng process niya. Okay, para masabi natin, is it substantive or not? Ayan. So kung wala pa siyang output, ayan, no? Pero substantive naman yung process. Ayan. So ang next question, input and process together significantly contribute to the ability to create output. Kasi possible na wala pa lang output sa acquisition date. But in the next few months, no, in the next few years, no, possible na magkaroon ng output. Ayan, no? Does it significantly contribute to ability to create output? If it is a yes, business combination siya. If it is a no, asset acquisition siya. Okay, no? Eh sir, paano naman kapag meron siyang output? Automatic ba na business combination siya? Kapag may output siya and then substantive naman yung process, business combination siya. Okay? But if the process is unique, no, is not unique or cannot or can be replaced, no? Ayan. So, sabihin similar lang. Isa siyang asset acquisition. Okay. So, dapat unique yung process niya. Okay. So, kapag hindi unique, no, or it can be replaced, asset acquisition siya. But if it is unique, no, or cannot be easily replaced, isa siyang business combination. Okay. So yun yung dapat natin tandaan, no, sa full assessment. So yung input, process, and output, and then dapat yung process, it is substantive. Ayan. And it contributes to the ability to create output. Then it is a business combination. Okay. So now, alam na natin kung paano mag-identify ng business sa acquired ay sa asset acquisition. No? Kaya na natin mag-identify is a business or asset acquisition. Now, ngayon, no? Ano ba yung mga iba't ibang forms of business combinations? Ayan. So, tatlo yan. Okay. So, first, statutory merger. Ano ba yung statutory merger? So, pag statutory merger, isa lang yung surviving company, yung isa dissolve, no? Yung isa cease to operate. So for example, nito si Betty at saka si Jughead Company, no? After ng statutory merger, si Betty Company na lang. Si Jughead Company nag-cease to operate na, nag-dissolve na. Okay, no? So sabihin, isa lang yung surviving entity. Okay, kapag statutory merger. Paano naman kapag statutory consolidation? Ayan, no? So, for example, si Betty at saka si Jughead nag-form ng panibagong entity, si Josie Company. Statutory consolidation yun, no? Ibig sabihin, si Betty at saka si Jughead nag-cease to operate at nagkaroon ng panibagong company. Ang pangalan ay Josie. Okay? Yun ang tinatawag na statutory consolidation. Okay. Next is yung tinatawag na stock acquisition. Kapag stock acquisition, dito ina-apply natin yung IFRS 10. Bakit? Kasi si Betty at saka si Jughead, they continue to operate. Walang nag-cease to operate. Walang na-dissolve sa kanilang dalawa. Pero isa sa kanila, nag-gain ng control. Okay? At doon mag-a-apply ang IFRS 10. Sir, bakit? Kasi nag-create siya ng parent and subsidiary relationship. Ayun, no? Parent and subsidiary relationship. Para lang yung si home office, yun yung parent. Si branch, yun yung subsidiary. Parang ganun ang tinitingnan natin. Okay, no? Pero syempre kapag partial acquisition ng parent, no, meron tinatawag na non-controlling interest or yung minority interest. Yun yung tawag sa old accounting standards. Minority interest. Pero yun din yung NCI or non-controlling interest. Okay. So itong stock acquisition, mas pag-aaralan natin siya in detail pagdating natin sa IFRS 10. Okay, no? Kasi yung IFRS 10, mas detailed yung discussion for stock acquisition and dapat alam din natin yung presentation ng separate financial statements which is under IAS 27. Okay, so punta naman tayo ngayon sa types of business combinations. So, ayan. So merong horizontal integration. So ano ba yung pag sinabi mong horizontal integration? No? Yung dalawang kumpanya or more, two or more, belongs to the same industry. Okay, no? Pagka vertical naman, ayan, no? Having dissimilar but related stages of operation, production, or distribution. Okay, so for example, yung supplier mo, nakipag-merge ka sa supplier mo. No? So it is a vertical integration. Next is conglomeration or diversification. Sabihin, dito naman yung si company A and company B, they are unrelated, no? Unrelated in terms of operation, productions, or distributions of activities. Yeah. So mayroong isang author yung nagsabi na mayroong circular combination, no? But most of the, even in the IFRS standards, no, only this like 3 types, no, ng business combination. Normally 3 lang naman, no, but there are some, sinasabi mayroong circular combination. So pagka circular combination naman, para din siyang diversification. Kaya lang hindi ganun kalaki yung changes, no, yung hindi ganun ka-drastic yung change niya. Okay, no, kasi kapag diversification, unrelated operation talaga siya. Okay. Now, alam na natin as of now kung ano yung business combination, ano yung objective nito, ano yung scope, ayan, no? So, alam na rin natin kung paano mag-identify ng business. Okay, sabihin, kaya natin i-identify kung business or asset acquisition. Alam na rin natin yung forms or types, no? Ayan, no? Alam na natin yan. Pero paano yung recognition and measurement? No? Okay. So meron tayong tinatawag na acquisition method. Yeah. So under IFRS 3, dapat acquisition method ang ginagamit natin. Okay, no? So merong 4 steps sa paggawa ng or sa pag-apply ng acquisition method. Okay, so first is identification of the acquirer. Sino ba yung acquirer? Ayan. Next is determination of the acquisition date. Next is how do we recognize and measure the identifiable assets acquired, the liabilities assumed, and any non-controlling interest in the acquiring. And lastly, yung results, no? Is it a goodwill or a gain from bargain purchase? Okay. So punta muna tayo dun sa identification of the acquirer. Okay, tara. So, identification or identify the acquirer. Ayan, no? So, the guidance in IFRS 10, kung ano yung guidance sa IFRS 10, yun yung ginagamit sa IFRS 3. So, pag sinabi mong more than 50% ng total issued shares, yung in-acquire mo, general rule, ikaw ay isang acquirer. Okay, no? But IFRS 10, no? Or if the guidance in IFRS 10 does not clearly indicate of which of the combining entities is an acquirer, no? Kasi syempre may mga exceptions to the rule. Ayan, no? So IFRS 3 actually provides additional guidance, no? Oo, kasi may mga de facto corporation eh. May mga ganun na tinatawag, no? Oo. So ano ba yung additional guidance ng IFRS 3? Okay, so sabi dito, if the fair value of one enterprise is significantly greater than that of the other combining entities, therefore, yun yung acquirer. Okay. Ibig sabihin, kung yung isang kumpanya mas malaki dun sa in-acquire na kumpanya, yun yung acquiring. Okay? So, next, the business combination is effected through an exchange of voting common shares for cash with the enterprise giving up cash as the acquirer. So, ibig sabihin, sa isang transaction, kung sino ang nagbigay ng consideration, kung sino ang nagbayad, siya daw ang acquirer. At kung sino ang tumanggap ng bayad, siya ang acquirer. Okay. And then the business combination results in the management of one enterprise being able to dominate the selection of the management team of the resulting combined enterprise. No? So dito normally, mayroon kang more than half of the total issued shares to do this, no? Kasi you dominate, no? You have the voice dun sa board of directors, no? Sa management team, you have the voice. Ayan, no? So, that's how we identify the acquirer. So, when you solve the problem, dapat ang unang hinahanap natin, sino ba ang acquirer? Okay, no? Then, let's go to the second one. Determining the acquisition date. Okay, so dito walang guidance na pinrovide si IFRS 3. Okay, sasabi lang niya, the date which the acquirer obtains control of the acquiree, yun yung acquisition date. Okay, so iba-iba yung acquisition date. Pwede siyang mangyari at the beginning of the year, pwede sa kalagitnaan ng taon, pwede rin sa end of the year, no? Ayan, so iba-iba siya. Basta kung kailan nagkaroon ng control yung acquirer sa acquiree, yun daw ang acquisition date. Okay? Since wala namang detailed guidance dito, no? So more on judgment. So kailan ba nagkaroon ng control si acquirer sa acquiree? Kaya importante na malaman natin kung ano ba yung definition ng control and ng power, which we already discussed. Okay, no? Ayan. So yung acquisition date, it may be a date that is earlier or later than the closing date. Ayan, no? So kaya na nabanggit ko, pwede siya nangyayari at the beginning of the year, during the year, pwede rin at the end of the year. Okay? Iba-iba. Okay. So next, of course, na-identify na natin sino acquirer. And then dito, alam na rin natin kung kailan na acquisition date. So the next thing is yung recognition and measurement ng assets, liabilities, and NCI. Okay. Pero syempre yung NCI sa IFRS 10 na yan, no? Para mas detailed. Okay. So ano ba yung recognition principles? Ayan. So as of the acquisition date, the identifiable assets acquired, liabilities assumed, and NCI in the acquiree are recognized separately from goodwill. Ayan. To be recognized as part of the acquisition, the acquirer's asset and liabilities must meet the definition of assets and liabilities in the 2018 conceptual framework. Be part of what the acquirer and the acquired exchange in the business combination transaction rather than the result of separate transactions. Okay, no? So dito, dapat i-recognize natin generally yung identifiable assets acquired and liabilities assumed at fair market value. Okay, no? As long as na-meet niya yung definition ng assets and liabilities sa conceptual framework. Okay? Yun lang ang dapat natin tandaan for the recognition principle. Okay, no? So dapat measured siya at fair market value. Kung ano yung fair market value niya at acquisition date. So this time, syempre, step 2 natin is identifying the acquisition date. So alam na natin acquisition date, no? So yung fair market value at acquisition date. Ayan. So yung pag-identify ng fair market value, it should be in accordance with IFRS 13. Ayan, no? So ano ba yung sinabing fair market value? So yun yung price that would be received to sell an asset or paid to transfer a liability in an orderly transaction between market participants at the measurement date. Okay, no? Magkano siya binibenta in the market? Ganun siya, no? So dito, it actually applies, no, yung hierarchy na tinatawag natin or IFRS 13. So may makikita kayo dyan level 1, level 2, level 3, no? So syempre yung identical assets, no? Identifiable assets, dapat yung kaparehas na. Next is yung similar lang. And then after nun, yung level 2 yung unobservable na eh. Oh, no, unobservable na. Okay. So to help you determine, no, kung ano ba yung fair market value. Ayan. So dapat alam natin ano ba yung asset or liability being measured. And then yung principal market or where there is no principal market, the most advantageous market, kung saan makakakuha ka ng best price. Ayan. Okay. Pag sa'yo principal market, saan ba siya madalas binibenta? Yun. Next is the highest and best use of the asset or liability and whether it is used on a standalone basis or in conjunction with other assets or liabilities. No? So in this case, possible na ma-apply din yung nasa IFRS 15. Okay, no? Kasi may mga asset kasi na detachable o hindi. Ayan. No? So paano yung na-identify yung fair market value? No? So it may apply, no? As for revenue kasi yun. No? Pero it may help you how you measured yung mga standalone basis. No? Okay. Basta in accordance pa rin siya with IFRS 13. Next is the assumptions that the market participants would use when pricing the asset or liability. Ayan. Okay, no? So, dito, alam na natin yung recognition principle. Generally, at fair market value, both identifiable assets acquired and liabilities assumed. Okay, no? So, at fair market value siya. But of course, there is an exception to the rule. No? In every general rule or in every rule, there is an exception. Okay, no? Tatandaan natin. Ano ba yung exception dito? No? So, marami, no? Nandiyan yung contingent liability. Kasi yung contingent liability, hindi natin ina-apply kung ano yung nasa IAS 37. Okay, no? As long as there is a present obligation and the fair market value can be measured reliably, pwede siyang i-recognize. Pwede siyang i-record. Ayan. So, yung contingent liabilities na alam natin ng IAS 37 or nasa intermediate accounting, hindi siya nag-a-apply sa IFRS 3. Okay. Ay yung deferred tax, based on IAS 12, yun yung accounting standard niya. Employee benefits, based on IAS 19. Indemnification assets, well, the measurement of the indemnification assets should be consistent. No? Kung paano natin minimeasure yung indemnified items niya. Ayan. So whether employee benefits siya or contingent liability. Okay. Reacquired rights. Ayan. No? So intangible assets. Ayan. Okay. But the value on the basis of the remaining contractual term of the related contract, regardless of whether market participants would consider potential contractual renewals when measuring its fair market value. So, based on IAS 38 siya, no? Yung acquired rights. No? So, kung ano yung remaining term niya, dun ka magbe-base. Yun yung starting mo kung ano yung fair market value. Okay? Shared-based payment, IFRS 2, yun yung accounting standard niya. Assets held for sale, IFRS 5. Intangible assets, generally speaking, parang sinusunod pa rin naman natin yung nasa IAS 38 kasi dapat separable siya eh. Oo, no? Pero ang problema lang dito is ang conflict lang sa intangible assets na nire-recognize natin sa IFRS 3 at saka IAS 38, dito, nagre-recognize din tayo ng mga internally generated intangible assets except goodwill. Yun, no? Ayan. Kaya sinabi dito, must be recognized and measured at fair value in accordance with the principles if it is separable or arises from other contractual rights, irrespective of whether the acquiree had recognized the asset prior to the business combination occurring. Kasi kung meron hindi siya na-recognize, no, yung mga in-process R&D, ayan, no, so yung mga in-process R&D, yung mga internally generated tangible assets, except goodwill, no, possible na i-recognize natin yan for business combination under IFRS 3. Ayan. So this is because there is always a sufficient information to reliably measure the fair market value. Oo, yun yung rationale ng IFRS 3. Kaya nag-depart siya sa IAS 38. Okay, no? So, ang sinusunod natin dito kapag subsequent measurement. No? So, syempre, pagka share-based IFRS 2, kung yung sinabi doon, pero sa contingent liability, medyo iba kapag subsequent. So after their initial recognition, the contingent liabilities should be measured at the higher, okay, at the higher of the amount that would be recognized in accordance with IAS 37 or the amount initially recognized. Okay, whichever is higher. Ayan. So doon natin i-apply yung IAS 37 after initial recognition. Pero at initial recognition, IFRS 3. Okay? Yun lang naman ang scope ng IFRS 3. After ng initial recognition, balik na tayo sa IAS 37. Okay? Kaya higher. Yan. Okay. Lastly, recognition and measurement of goodwill or a bargain purchase. Ayan. Okay, no? So dapat malaman natin kung goodwill ba siya or a gain from bargain purchase. Ayan. Okay, no? So dito makita natin kapag mas malaki yung consideration transferred plus yung amount of the NCI plus the fair market value of the previous equity interest less the net assets recognized. Itong net assets recognized, ito yung net assets acquired. So pag mas malaki yung consideration kesa dun sa net assets, goodwill daw siya. Oo. Pero kapag mas malaki yung net assets kesa dun sa considerations, gain from bargain purchase siya. Ayan. Okay. So, ganun lang natin siya i-identify. So, the acquirer foresees, no? Kapag kasi may goodwill, it foresees that the value or the benefit that can be obtained from the acquired net asset is worth more than the values of the tangible assets or identifiable intangible assets. No? Kasi syempre, ikaw magbabayad ka ng, yung value niya 100,000 pero babayaran mo siya ng 300,000. Ibig sabihin, may nakikita kang goodwill sa kanya. Pero kung 100,000, ang willing ka lang na magbayad sa kanya is 50,000 no? Or less than 100,000, wala siyang goodwill. It's a gain from bargain purchase. Okay, no? So yung goodwill, yun din yung tinatawag na premium price. Ayan, no? So ano ba yung premium price? No? Yun din yung goodwill eh. Estimating the future earnings that the acquired company may generate out of synergy brought by the merger. Ayan. So ibig sabihin dito, kaya binili mo siya ng mas malaki doon sa value niya kasi may nakikita kang value sa kanya. Okay, nakikita mo in the next few years, makakapag-generate siya ng napakalaking revenue, na napakalaking net income. In that case, mayroong premium price. Yeah. There is a premium price to be offered by the acquiring company. Ganon siya. Okay, so yung premium price, controlled premium, goodwill, by that term, same lang na ibig sabihin. Okay. So, focus tayo sa consideration transfer. Itong non-controlling interest, i-disregard muna natin since sa IFRS 10 pa natin siya. Fair value of the previous equity interest. So ito, ibig sabihin meron ka na in-acquire before eh. Kaya lang dahil maring wala pang control dahil significant influence, no? Or maliit lang yung shares acquired mo, no? Wala ka pang control. No? So i-add mo yun, i-take into consideration mo yun. So nag-a-arise yun sa tinatawag natin step acquisition. Yun, no? So little by little bumibili ka ng share hanggang sa makakuha ka ng control. Pero sa special topics pa natin yun, pag-aaralan. For now, let's focus sa consideration transfer. Ano ba yung mga consideration na pwedeng ibigay ng acquirer? Ayan. So pwedeng cash, pwedeng issued shares, no? Of course, at fair market value. Contingent consideration, at saka deferred consideration. Anong pagkakaiba ng deferred sa contingent? Pag contingent, may condition. Kaya contingent pa. No, yung condition, maaaring based on future events. Ayan, no? Or to meet future earnings. No? So, possible yun, ha? Pero hindi natin nire-recognize yung mga potential workforce. Ayan, hindi natin nire-recognize yun. Yung mga future losses, ayan, hindi natin yan nire-recognize, ha? So, contingent consideration, naka-condition siya. Ayan, based on future event. Pero yung deferred consideration, hindi pa lang natin siya ibibigay ngayon. In the near future pa, no? Ayan. So, for example, bibigyan kita ng 100,000 after 5 years. No condition, but after 5 years. Sure yun. Yun ay isang deferred consideration. Okay, so dahil yung both contingent consideration tsaka deferred consideration, no? So, ibibigay mo siya ng napakatagal, 5 years or more than 12 months. No? So, we have to consider yung time value of money. No? So, nandyan yung present value. Magkukumplit tayo ng present value. Okay? So, dapat alam natin yung discount rate. Okay? Yung discount rate tsaka yung cost of capital, medyo similar lang sila ng logic. Okay? Oo. Similar lang ng logic yun. So, dapat alam natin paano natin ma-identify yung present value. So, normally naman yung concept naman nun, same lang din dun sa intermediate accounting natin. Eh. Paano ba tayo nagko-compute ng present value for bonds, for notes, sa leases, no, sa pag-compute ng ROU. Ayan. So same lang din, no, sa time value of money natin, di ba? Okay. So normally yan yung mga binibigay, no, pero hindi naman siya limited diyan. Okay, so pag mas malaki, ulit, pag mas malaki yung total consideration given kaysa sa fair market value, the identifiable net assets acquired, goodwill siya. Pero kapag mas malaki yung fair market value, identifiable net assets acquired kesa sa total consideration, gain from bargain purchase siya. Okay, no? Pero sir, ito lahat to nangyayari at acquisition date. In reality, hindi. Okay? Kasi hindi naman sa isang araw malalaman mo lahat ng fair market value niya. Oo. Hindi sa isang araw parang bigla na lang, ang fair market value nito, 100,000. Oo, hindi ganun. No? Hindi ganun ang buhay. Komplikado ang buhay. Oo, kaibigan. Okay, di ba? So, dapat, meron tayong period. Oo. Anong tawag yun sa period na yun? Measurement period. Okay, no? Kasi possible na at acquisition date, yung fair market value mo, provisional values pa lang yan. Sabihin, tentative. Oo, para makapag-recognize ka ng goodwill or gain from bargain purchase at acquisition date. At ano lang siya, provisional values. Okay, no? So, maximum ng measurement period, 1 year. Okay? 1 year siya. Kaya sinabi dito, when the acquirer receives the information, no? Kung kailan nagkaroon ng complete information, pag nag-gather mo na yung complete information, or 1 year from the acquisition date, whichever occurs earlier. So, binibigyan pa ng IFRS 3 ng 1 year, no, para ma-finalize yung provisional value. Okay? Kasi after 1 year, hindi mo na siya ma-adjust. No more adjustment after 1 year. Well, there is an exception, of course, no? In accordance with IAS 8 para dun sa mga correction of error. Pag may error lang. Okay? Pag walang error, any adjustments, sa profit or loss na babagsak yun. Oo, hindi na maapektuhan yung goodwill or gain from bargain purchase. Wala nang bawian. Okay, no? Pero kasi, ang gain from bargain purchase, hindi siya normal eh. Oo, medyo, hindi siya normal. Kaya minsan talagang sasabihin na mag-reassess. Oo, no? Pero dapat within measurement period lang ang reassessment. Oo. Within 1 year lang. Maximum na yung 1 year. Oo, no? Pero pag natanggap mo siya less than 1 year, no? Whichever occurs earlier. Okay, no? Ayan. So binibigyan ka no, na 1 year na measurement period to finalize yung fair market values o yung provisional value. Okay. Ayan, no? Next. Ayan. Ako, dami nalilito dito. Acquisition-related cost or ARC versus stock issuance cost, no? SIC. Pag sinabi mong acquisition-related cost, regardless kung direct or indirect, expense yan. Expense. Basta acquisition-related cost, whether direct or indirect, expense yan, kaibigan. Sa stock issuance cost, ayan. So generally speaking, kapag stock issuance cost, no, kapag meron kang issue na share, matik meron kang SIC. No? And then, paano mo i-record yung SIC? No? I-debit mo siya dun sa related APIC. Okay, no? Sabi APIC, share premium. Related share premium. Kapag hindi sufficient yung share premium na yun, no? So, pwede kang mag-debit ng stock issuance account. Stock issuance cost account. Yun. And then, yun ay contra account, no? Sa previously related share premium, kapag naubos yun, retained earnings na. Yun. So, yung priority na yun, based din yun or related, hindi naman related, pero consistent yan pala. Consistent siya doon sa intermediate accounting concepts. No. Ganun lang din. Okay? Sir, yung listing fee showing no shares. No? Usually, ito kasi under PIC interpretations, no? Related siya sa IPO. Initial public offering. Oo, yung listing fee. Kaya, ang treatment sa kanya, expense. Okay, no? Yun ang sabi sa PIC interpretations. No? Kasi medyo nagkakagulo. Diyan. Sabi, dapat ito ay stock issuance cost. May nagsasabi, hindi listing fee lang yan, expense dapat yan. No? So, to clear things out, nag-provide na ng PIC interpretations, no? So related siya sa IPO or sa initial public offering, expense siya. Huwag natin kakalimutan yan kasi maraming nalilito dyan. Okay. Cross-ownership investments. Nako, paano pagka may cross-ownership investments? No? So, dito dapat alam lang natin kung sino yung una nag-acquire. Sino yung una nagka-share? Si acquirer or si acquiree? So, this is first, the acquirer purchase shares of stock from the acquired entity. Sabihin, prior business combination, meron na siyang shares. Si acquirer, no? Malala mo kanina, meron doon, di ba sabi? Fair market value of the previously acquired shares. Ito yun, no? So, paano treatment doon? Treat it as a retired stocks. Okay, parang retired stocks. Sasama mo siya sa consideration transfer. Okay. Paano naman kapag kasi acquiree, no? Ayan, yung acquiree naman ang bumili or nag-acquire ng shares of stock kay acquirer. Paano naman pagka ganun? Then it should be treated as treasury stock. Okay. Ganun lang. Okay. So una, si acquirer yung unang bumili before business combination. So treat it as a retired stock. But kung si acquiree ang unang bumili before business combination, okay, so treat it as a treasury stock kapag nagkaroon ng business combination. Okay, so that's how we deal sa cross-ownership investment. Kasi how do we record yung retired stocks and treasury stocks? So same concept sa intermediate accounting. Okay? So syempre, ito lang yung coverage ng IFRS 3. No? Hindi pa natin sinama yung step acquisition tsaka yung other issues kasi sa special topics pa natin pag-uusapan yun. No? But para maging handa na rin tayo, no? The future, lalo na pagka nag-board exam kayo, dapat alam natin ano ba yung mga amendments. Okay, so effective January 1, 2022, mayroong amendments sa IFRS 3, pero minimal lang, no? Reference lang sa conceptual framework. Kasi as you all know, nag-iba, no? Nag-revise yung conceptual framework natin. Nagkaroon ng revision noong 2018. Yun. So in-update lang yung reference. Okay, wala namang major changes, pero dapat alam natin kung ano yung amendments. Okay, so nag-add lang ng requirements na within the scope ng IAS 37 or IFRIC 21 and to add an explicit statement, no, regarding contingent assets. Although itong contingent assets, di naman talaga tayo nag-recognize na ito eh. Unless na lang virtually certain siya, di ba? Pero, yun nga, di naman tayo nag-recognize na ito. Siguro, sabi nung IASB, just to clear things out, no? Kasi baka mamaya may nag-a-assume. So nag-add sila ng explicit statement, no? Now, acquirer does not recognize contingent assets acquired. Pero hindi naman talaga tayo. Till now, no? Before this amendment, hindi naman talaga tayo nag-recognize ng contingent asset unless virtually certain na lang siya. E pagka virtually certain naman siya, hindi na siya contingent assets. Ano na siya? Asset na siya. Okay. Next, concept map. Concept map, magbibili na lang ako ng file for this kasi hindi na siya kasya. Masyado mahaba yung concept map natin. No? So I hope makatulong yung concept map kasi syempre itong concept map, ayan, no? So para kung gusto niyo na mabilis ang review, nandun na yun. Yan na yung kailangan nyo reviewin. Concept map. Kung gusto niyo baguhin, no? Okay lang. Okay? No? Kung saan kayo mas komportable. But, syempre, just to give you guidance. No? Ayan. So, binibigay ko yung concept map. Okay? Marami rin kayo makikita ang concept map dyan sa internet. Eh. Oo, no? Yung IFRS standards ng BDO, yung firm na BDO, Oo, yun. So, pwede nyo rin gamitin yon as guide. Ayan. concept map. Just make sure na updated. Okay? Kasi baka mamaya, yung ma-research nyo is IFRS 2004. Eh, outdated na yun, kaibigan. Nag-revise na yung IFRS 3 natin noong 2008. Oh, and then next year magre-revise na magkakaroon na ng IFRS 3 2022. Diba? So, ilang buhay. Oh, nagre-revise. Kaya nagbabago. So, hanggat hindi pa kayo nag-board exam, so, actually kahit CPA ka na, kailangan updated ka pa rin sa mga revisions eh. Oo, updated pa rin talaga dapat. Okay, no? So, that's all for today. So, thank you so much for listening. No? So, for any questions, concerns, clarifications, no, just chat lang kayo sa Messenger. Okay, no? Kung gusto nyo call, that's okay with me. Ayan, so, for any clarification, concerns, no, please do let me know. And thank you very much. Have a great day.